Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Speak, Film, and Enter, a podcast where we review and rank movies. I'm Nate.
And I'm Dylan.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to day 2 of the 12 Days of Christmas here, special just for our YouTube audience. So if you want to check these out, it's just on the YouTube channel. They will not show up on the podcast. And if you missed the first one, all we're doing is going 12 days leading up to Christmas Eve and talking about just 12 specials and movies that we like and like watching on repeat viewing sometimes. And this is not meant to be a set list of the 12 best Christmas movies of all time. And it's not meant to be in any kind of order or ranking or anything like that. We're just kind of going through and randomly picking different days for these 12 movies and specials that we really like. And for day 2, we are talking about 1994's The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen.
Woohoo!
Yes.
This is
absolute classic, especially for our generation.
Yeah.
Definitely for our generation.
I think this is one of the Christmas movies I've seen the most. Like, besides, like, say, like Rudolph, the stuff that's on TV, or like A Christmas Story that's on for 24 hours, like every year. I think I've seen this movie like 80 times. Like every time I hear that, I'm like, yes. They're going to Denny's. Like, it's ingrained. After he burns the turkey and like all of that. Like,
Yep. Yeah, no, the music is great. So I'm kind of the opposite. I mean, I definitely watched it as a kid multiple times, but I haven't seen it in years, like a long time. So I actually watched it yesterday. All of it came flooding back. I was like, yep, I remember this. But I had a really good time. I think especially it's interesting now kind of seeing the direction that Tim Allen's career has taken, how he just was like so perfect for this. Like, this is like by far my favorite Tim Allen role. I just think I don't know, something about his performance is just like, like this was his moment and like he understood what needed to be done. And I was really impressed by him.
Yeah, Tim Allen kind of has like, I think for me, like 2 or 3 movies. I kind of have him in the same category as Chevy Chase in my head, where it's sort of like we were maybe a little too young, but there's also an element of like, I don't totally get the like superstardom level that they get treated with, but like there are roles that they're right for.
Yeah.
And this and like Buzz Lightyear, obviously, and then like Galaxy Quest, I think are probably like the only Tim Allen things that, and I've seen Home Improvement.
Yep.
I think it's fine. I've enjoyed some episodes of that show, but I haven't watched it like a ton.
Yeah.
But this is definitely like the Tim Allen role for me. And he definitely works as the like curmudgeon-y sort of like what is wrong with you kind of smart ass dad. And he puts in just enough effort at the beginning to where we don't like hate him.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like he needs to do better.
He's flawed.
He for sure. Like
he's just like a marketing director at like a huge company. Like he's just like part of the machine basically, and just like I have to do this and blah blah blah. But I have kids and it's through a divorce and all this kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's a good balance of like he's not really a very good dad, but he's not like so awful that you hate him right away.
Yeah,
it feels like he can be redeemed, which is kind of the whole point of the movie.
Yeah,
and I really like, it's very darkly funny, but I just really like the whole premise of like Santa dies and now like you're him. Like,
I totally forgot that.
Yeah, he like disappears into the snow and is just gone. Like,
which also like there's a line in the movie where Charlie says he wants to like go into the family business.
Yeah.
The only way by the rules of this movie and this world that he's ever going to become Santa Claus is when his dad dies, which is just like this movie's got some dark humor to it. Like
it definitely does.
Kind of treat Santa Claus like the king, like he's sovereign, and it's just like he's dead and you were nearest. Which is like some Monty Python shit. And like, you're just Santa Claus now. And that whole sequence is, that's kind of the primary thing that people remember about this movie is like the Christmas night, Santa dies, and then he puts the coat on, and then everything through that whole night when they go to the North Pole, I think is what sticks in people's mind the most. Because there's a lot of other stuff that happens after that, and that ends like half an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more after, but that's like the bulk of this, I think.
Yeah, I had totally forgotten that the structure of it is like we get that first Christmas Eve. They go on this whole adventure to the North Pole with all these elves and the set design and all this magical stuff.
Gorgeous.
And then we go back to just normal life for like the next 40 minutes, and it's like a domestic dispute over visitation, right?
Yeah. It just gets real.
They're like court scenes in this movie.
Yeah, there's court scenes. They like serve him like it's like it kind of goes into family drama for like the whole like second act, and then comes back with Christmas in the third act.
Right.
And
very oddly structured.
Even when they show up at the North Pole the first time, and Bernard, the main kind of lead elf, like he doesn't even seem to have he doesn't mourn the death of the old Santa like at all.
True.
It's very much like, oh yeah, you're the new him. Let me guess, you fall off a roof or something? No, yep, okay, well you were near, so you put the suit on. It just totally breezes over
rolls
the fact.
with it. Just rolls with it. It's like, it happens. Like,
look at how old the elves are. I mean, how many times have they seen a new Santa? They've just got to disassociate at this point. It's just unhealthy. They can't.
It's just your job, bro. Like,
yeah.
I will say,
hope your new boss is cool and takes the job seriously, and like other than that,
screw up all your hard work for a whole year.
Yeah, I don't give a shit who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I love the design of the North Pole. I think that's like that's one of the most, like, when you get to, and like say like the Polar Express or something, what you're waiting for is like what they're envisioning of the North Pole is going to look like, and they like type in a code to get the North Pole to pop up to even like open up the area to take the sleigh down and stuff. Like everything is so cool. It's just like. And it just really, when they get Coco in their like the bedroom and Susie's there, just like shaken not stirred, and like there's like a polar bear in the background like gliding on ice or something. There's just like so much happening, and it all looks so realized and so cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
The look of everything is cool, and then also the attention to detail with the little jokes put in everywhere. And they don't spend a lot of time on them, but when the doctor is checking his heartbeat, and it's the melody from what I can't remember.
Jingle Bells, I think.
It's Jingle Bells. Like, and when he meets who is the one who makes the hot cocoa?
It's
Trudy.
Trudy.
Oh yeah, Judy.
Yeah, Judy, and she's like, "Yeah, I've been working on this hot chocolate recipe for hundreds of years." And he tries it, and he's like, "That is damn good hot chocolate."
Or I love the two, I can't remember what they are, but those like two toys that laugh at him anytime he tries to change his clothes.
The puppets. It's in the
they're basically the two like old bitchy Muppets from the Muppets.
Which are, I forget their names.
I can't remember their names either, but I mean, I think this is, especially for our generation, like this is the rendition of the North Pole and realization of it. I mean, you have kind of like Elf and Rudolph kind of have that same, like Elf borrowed the look from Rudolph.
Yep.
But this one, like they kind of actually make it look like a sort of high-tech factory.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I think they get like all the actual like Christmassy, like North Pole elf stuff. It's really creative and it's done really well in this movie. It can definitely, like, I'd totally forgotten that there are like multiple like visits to the courtroom in this movie, which feels a little weird looking back, but they nail all the Christmas stuff, and like all the packages that just show up to his house. And he just starts gaining weight, and he just starts like turning into Santa Claus. Like he can't stop it. He has no power.
That's one of my favorite scenes. That scene has my favorite quote. But like when they order lunch, he gets to the office late and he's wearing like just like a gray sweatsuit because he can't fit in any of his clothes. And they're like, he's like, "Oh, what happened to your clothes?" He's like, stung by a bee and all, and like the house fire and stuff. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." "Oh, we're just ordering lunch." "Cool." And he orders like half the menu,
like all sweets.
Yeah, he's sitting there like eating the end of a sundae, and they're like, "You were stung by a bee?" He's like, "It was a big bee." Like, but that the quote I love is they're doing the pitch meeting, and someone presents Santa like atop a tank, and he's like, "Oh, isn't that a pretty picture? Santa rolling down the block in a Panzer. Well, kids, I hope you were good this year because Santa just took out the Pearson home. Incoming!" Like,
Adam wasn't kidding when he said he could quote like this entire movie.
I love this movie. I've seen it so many times. I love that. My brother and I quoted that to each other constantly throughout our childhood. Like,
there's another part about like something about, have you ever flown before? And he's like, "Well, I lived through the 60s." like drug joke for the adults.
Right.
But I felt like the jokes kept coming. But really, what makes this work, I think, is in that middle portion where it is a lot of family drama. The pace at which he is fighting the Santa Claus changes, and then realizes he can't fight it and just accepts it, is really well done. And it's like, it's nice to see, like, when his character finally is like, no, this is who I am, and like the spirit of Christmas is important, and like I'm gonna stop being the flawed dad that I was before, and like really embrace this. It's nice to see, and it brings a smile to your face, and Tim Allen pulls it off really well. I also had totally forgotten about the stepdad Neil, who, to be honest, he is
my weenie whistle.
He's pitched. He's portrayed as really kind of the bad guy, and I mean, certainly filing court documents to take away, the dude's visitation rights is not nice. Certainly not in the holiday spirit, but in a lot of other ways, he really is like a good, responsible stepdad.
Yeah,
He's on time. He wants the
cares
kid
about
to,
the
like,
kid.
Yeah, be mature for his age, and like, he really does actually want what's best for the kid and the mom,
for the family. Yeah, sorry, Scott, like you're just in the wrong. You can't abide by this anymore. Like we got to do what's right for Charlie.
I do love the weenie whistle moment though, and then also just need to mention like the prison break with like the elves who are in like
tinsel.
That's the other thing I wanted to say was that idea that the like SWAT team of the elves was so well done. Their look, what they like, just their whole thing. I had totally forgotten about them, and I was like, oh my god, I love this. And they do the thing where they tie the guy up on the spinning chair, which I'm pretty sure is probably something that happens in like every 90s kids movie. Like the 90s loved that spin him in the chair and tie him up thing. Like,
yeah, for sure. I also just love the kind of bit where they're at the North Pole and they're like strategizing. And you got like the one elf who's kind of like we got a couple ideas for you. Let's see what you think. Like he's just bringing him these. I don't know. There's just something
the flame
about
retardant suit and like all that stuff.
And then the whole time he's like, "But what happens if I fall off the roof?"
Yeah, I don't want to go out like that last guy.
So
my favorite moment.
Go ahead.
I'll say my last. Oh, are you gonna?
I was gonna say we've kind of reached the time where we like to end this with our favorite moment of the movie, however we want to interpret that. So I guess Adam, we can start with you, and then we can just kind of go around.
Yeah, mine is the interrogation scene at the police station. And they're like, all right, who are you? And he's like, Papa Noel, Santa Claus, Popo Gisho, like he just like all
Chris
of them, Chris Kringle, Santa Claus, like all of the names and how he Popo Gisho. I just love that whole little bit because he's just riling him up and letting him go, and he's like, I don't care, I got nothing else to do. Like that's my favorite scene.
I like that scene. I like the two scenes where the one where he's first doing the Santa thing, and then at the end when he's doing it again but actually embracing it. The little moments he has with that one little girl in her house, where the first time he's really short with her, he's not buying in, he's making jokes about how he's lactose intolerant.
Okay.
And then the second time, he's just totally warm. He's totally warm and like actually wants her to like have a good Christmas experience. Then the soy milk.
Yeah.
Like
oh god, the way he does that is so good.
I really like that.
I forgot about that part. That's a great callback.
I also liked, and maybe this is part of the reason why I think Nate, you mentioned before we came on, like the reviews on this, there's a lot of bad reviews, and I think it is kind of you had to be a kid when you saw it to like really love it, because you can poke holes in a lot of like the story and stuff. And the one thing that I thought was interesting that I forgot is like, at Thanksgiving, he basically kidnaps his son and takes him to the North Pole. And his mom is so worried that she gets the police involved. It's like this whole missing persons thing. And from Thanksgiving to Christmas, so you have a whole month of thinking that your crazy psycho ex abducted your son. Where on God, right? Fear.
And they're living in the North Pole.
Yeah, you're like, all right, he's on drugs and he's like, something's happening. He's had a psychotic break.
And then they have the touching scene on Christmas, and she just lets all of that go out the window, and she's just all in on Christmas. She's like, nope, like I'm gonna go get this, and like she tells the Neil to like just stop worrying about it, Neil. I'll explain it to you. I just love how that flip. It's just like a light switch. It's just like, oh god, this man is a criminal and should definitely go behind bars for what he's done. actually he's Santa, so never mind. This is
He gets a
fantastic.
pass. Yeah.
It started a hypothetical discussion with about like how serious would Santa's crimes have to be for us to lock him up and not let him be Santa anymore? like the leading authority on Christmas who I watched it with, she was like, yeah, like if he like ran someone over like with the sleigh, maybe even like a DUI, would that be enough where we're like, okay, no more Santa because that's wrong and we cannot overlook it? Like, where's the line? How bad do you have to be?
Well, given that we like our stuff, I think he could get away with a lot. Yeah, that's the answer.
For sure.
My favorite moment is a really basic one, but just the first look of the North Pole. It's just so wonderful, and I mean that's like the essence of this movie for me, and the whole reason to watch it is just like that feeling, and I think they nail it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, yeah, a classic for sure, at least for our generation. I'm glad I rewatched it. It's been
maybe
quite
a little
while.
longer than intended, but
in a while, go watch it.
Yeah,
get the Christmas spirit back in your heart.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I think with that, it is Adam's turn to put a wrap on the show.
Yes. Thanks again for watching. This is day 2 of our 12 Days of Christmas. We thank you very much for watching this year and have a happy holiday season.